Good afternoon, everyone. I just got done watching the new Silent Hill movie, the sequel to the original movie, and supposedly an adaptation of the second game, which is probably my favorite horror game of all time. Um, I I watched a couple of reviews of this film before going into it. Um, Pretty negative, but I am always that person who thinks, I'm gonna make up my own mind. I've seen plenty of films where, I've been proven, oh, I actually don't mind this movie. No, this was a piece of shit. This was absolute dog shit. This has got to be like one of the worst movies I've seen of all time, but got to be one of the worst video game adaptations ever made. The only good thing in this movie was the music, which was all taken from the game, which obviously wasn't even made for the movie. It was just they ripped about three of the credit songs for a couple of scenes, and there was the main theme and a couple of other character themes. That is the only redeeming thing about this movie, which is not really a redemption thing because you could just go listen to the soundtracks on their own without being attached to a dog shit movie. Now, let's start with the plot. The plot is insane. They took the basic premise of James's story and just shit all over it. They tried to insert the cult stuff into this, which, if you've played Silent Hill 2, you know none of that stuff is involved. They go into the history of Silent Hill, which again, there's not really anything mentioned. There's a there's a few like nods in the game to the historical society and stuff like that, but there was none of that in this movie either. It was okay. Let's start with the main problem. They try and make James cool, and James is not a cool character. He's a tortured character, but they make him a pseudo hipster artist who drives a Mustang. Not just an everyman that lost his wife. They make him a artistic hipster, and he's insufferable. The only good shot from the movie is the bathroom scene, the one pictured here, but even then it wasn't great. It was like I remember when the remake they first showed that scene and everyone was like, "Oh, it doesn't look right." They went back and fixed it. This movie is like a travesty next to the remake and the original. There's no. It just felt like how many Easter eggs or how many things from the other games can we put in this story, and it just takes away from the main story that we already had, which was a man who had gone through a horrible experience with his wife and was coming to terms with that. And Silent Hill, in a twisted kind of way, made James accept that. This movie was just a nothing burger of a story. Nothing made sense. The characters were bizarre. When he meets Angela for the first time, she's putting up sandbags to stop a flood. They make out that there's like a chemical spill in Silent Hill. They don't mention that there's a coal mine or the Indian like ritual site or anything like that. It, bizarre choices. The creature design in this is really bad. Like tried to they basically copied a couple of designs, like the spitters, for example, but they just look like they're made out of clay and plasticine, and they're not intimidating. They're not scary. Um, they don't move like they should. In the way James gets the radio feels very contrived and forced. There's like a homeless dude that melts, and that felt like a needless CGI dump of money into it. This movie just made me mad. The acting is horrendous, and I understand obviously Silent Hill, the characters are supposed to behave very strangely and very ethereal, but in this it's just wooden shit direction, and just I don't know if the actors are just terrible. I think apart from Laura, all the actors were just they're saying shit for no reason. There's a part where James kisses Mary, not Mary, Maria, and I just don't know why he did that. I feel like he would never do that. If you know the story of Silent Hill, um, James goes to Silent Hill because it was his holiday spot with Mary. But apparently, she came from the town. She was put through rituals. Uh, she's Angela apparently now. Yeah, spoilers. I'm gonna spoil this movie because it's a piece of shit and you shouldn't watch it. Yeah, she's Angela and she was abused by her dad, like Angela. But apparently Mary and her are the same person now. Eddie's in the movie for about 5 minutes. Doesn't have the right costume. Is thrown up in the toilet, and James doesn't question it at all. There's no dead body. He doesn't have a gun. He's not questioning why he's a murderer because he isn't a murderer. He just sees Laura and then kicks the shit out of James and runs away. You never see him again. Why? Just there's no point in that scene, and I feel like there was just there's no tension in the movie. There's no scares. There's one jump scare in the whole film. This is a horror film. I mean, I know it's Silent Hill, but there was no tension. There was no build up. There was no atmosphere. It was just boring. I've never watched a horror film where I've been bored. I've watched plenty of horror films where I want people to die because they're annoying and stuff. But I just wanted this film to end. The the plot just was. I couldn't believe how bad it was. They just took a really good story and just shat all over it. They didn't have any redeemable qualities to this whatsoever. It just I have a headache from how bad this film was. And I was like, "Oh, I have to make a video on this because I can't get this off of my mind. I need to get it out there." There's a therapy for me. I don't know what Konami were thinking. I just a horrible film, and they make Pyramid Head look like a costume. There was like pointless added scenes. They were creepy, obviously evil villagers or townsfolk from Silent Hill. Uh, just, just absolutely bizarre. I would say if anyone is interested in the story of James, just watch a summary on YouTube of the game, or watch like a edited like playthrough of the game. It'll be 10 times scarier. It'll be 10 times more entertaining, and you'll appreciate the story. The ending to this movie was just like James is in a time loop and he's happy about that. I guess. Fuck this movie.